Dr. G.S. Rogers' YouTube.
And that is the source, the foundation for today's discussion.
It really is. Usually when we say we're doing a deep dive, it's metaphorical. We dive into a concept, a story.
Right.
But today, we're being very, very literal. We are diving inside the body. We're going on a journey into the absolute engine room.
The engine room is a perfect description. It's where all the fuel for the machine gets processed.
And I have to be honest with you, before digging into this material, my mental image of the small intestine was just, it was lacking. I just pictured a jumble.
A mess.
A total mess. Like a tangled garden hose someone just threw into the shed of your abdomen and slammed the door.
That's a very common way to picture it. Yeah.
But it's not chaos at all, is it? What we found in this breakdown is that it is surprisingly, almost beautifully structured.
Exactly. It's not just a tube. It's a high-tech, multi-sectioned processing plant.
And that's really the mission for this deep dive, then.
I think so. The material we're drawing from is pretty technical. It's, it's designed for endoscopists, technicians, nurses.
People who have navigate it?
Right. But when you look at it through that lens, it completely changes how you visualize your own body. Digestion stops being this abstract, magical thing and starts being about geography.
Geography is the perfect word. It really does feel like looking at a map of a very dense city.
It is. It's about understanding the specific checkpoints, the neighbors, the high-stakes real estate packed inside your abdomen. Nothing is just floating in there. Everything is touching something else.
So let's lay out that map for everyone listening. We're going to track the physical path from the moment food gets kicked out of the stomach until it hits the colon.
From the stomach's exit to the large bowel's entrance, that's our roadmap.
Okay, so let's picture it. You're a piece of food.
Yeah.
You've been chewed, swallowed. The stomach has done its churning and its acid wash, and now it's pushing you through a door. What's that door called?
That door is the pylorus.
The pylorus. It sounds like a gatekeeper from a fantasy novel.
It pretty much acts like one. It's a really strong muscular valve. It's not just an open hallway. The stomach churns, and then the pylorus selectively opens to let just the right amount through.
So it controls the flow. It's the bouncer at the club.
Exactly.
Okay, so we squeeze past the bouncer. We're in the system. And the first thing that really hit me was just the sheer scale of this place.
It is massive.
We're talking about 5 to 6 meters of tubing.
That's right, about 5 to 6 meters.
I mean, that's 16 to 20 feet. If you unraveled it, it would stretch across a pretty big living room.
And all that immense surface area is packed into a very, very tight space. That's the real engineering marvel. But to understand it, you can't just think of it as 20 feet of tube. You have to break it down.
Into its main characters.
Right. You have the duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum. And they aren't just fancy names for the same thing. They have very different jobs. Different personalities, really.
Okay, let's meet the first one. The duodenum.
The duodenum. This is where we land immediately after the pylorus.
Now, compared to the whole 20 feet, this part's actually tiny, right?
Very short. It's only about 20 to 30 centimeters long.
So the length of a standard school ruler.
Basically.
It's the shortest section. But reading the notes, it felt like the most chaotic. It seems like everything important happens here.
Oh, absolutely. If the small intestine is a factory, the duodenum is the mixing bowl.
The mixing bowl. I like that.
Well, think about it. The stomach is doing mechanical churning, but the duodenum is where the real chemical action starts. This is where the body starts adding key ingredients. Pancreatic juice and bile get dumped right in.
Into this tiny 30-centimeter stretch.
Right into that stretch to start breaking everything down on a molecular level.
So it's a chemical processing zone. And it's not just breaking things down, it's already starting to absorb things, isn't it?
It is, and it's highly specific absorption. It's not just grabbing food. The duodenum is the prime spot for absorbing iron and calcium.
And the fat-soluble vitamins, too.
Exactly. So just think about the implication there for a second. If you have inflammation or disease specifically in this short little section, you could be eating all the iron-rich food in the world, but you might still be anemic.
Because the specific machinery for iron is located right there.
Precisely. Location dictates function.
Now, let's talk about the shape, because it's not a straight line. The breakdown describes it as a C loop.
Yes, exactly like the letter C. It curls around the head of the pancreas, just hugs it tight. And doctors, endoscopists, they divide this loop into 4 sections to navigate it. D1, D2, D3, and D4.
Sounds like we're playing a game of Battleship. Let's walk the loop. D1.
D1 is also called the bulb. It's the very first bit, right after the pylorus.
The bulb. And from the description, this sounds like a very crowded neighborhood. What's lurking right behind it?
A lot of critical infrastructure. I mean, right behind the D1 bulb, you've got the bile duct, the cystic duct. Sometimes the gallbladder itself is sitting right there.
That seems uncomfortably close.
It is extremely close. You've also got the portal vein in that immediate vicinity.
Would you explain something I saw in the notes? That you can actually see these things on an ultrasound.
That's why. Because they are physically touching or just millimeters behind that D1 section, an ultrasound probe can visualize them. It's all packed in there.
Okay, so we leave the bulb and round the corner into D2, the descending duodenum.
D2, this is the vertical drop of the C. And this is arguably the most complex intersection in the entire digestive system.
Okay, wait. What makes D2 so special?
It's the main plumbing junction. Remember we said bile and pancreatic juice enter the duodenum?
Yeah.
D2 is the specific address where that delivery happens.
This is the injection point.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have the bile duct coming from the liver and the pancreatic duct from the pancreas. They actually join together and then they punch through the wall of the D2 section.
And that entry point has a specific name, right?
It does. The major ampulla.
The major ampulla. Sounds very grand.
It is, functionally. But there's this great detail in the anatomy nature often builds in a backup plan. There's frequently a smaller secondary event called the minor ampulla.
Kind of like the service entrance.
Sort of, yeah. It's where a smaller accessory pancreatic duct opens up.
Nature loves redundancy. Okay, so besides the plumbing, who are the neighbors? D2 is sitting right next to what?
Well, D2 has the pancreas on its medial side, the inside of the C-curve. But on the outside, it's right up against the kidney.
The kidney.
Yes. The right kidney and the adrenal gland are sitting right there.
See, that really highlights how three-dimensional this whole thing is. I think of kidneys as being way in the back, but here, they're next-door neighbors.
They are, and that matters for surgery, for trauma, for everything.
Let's keep moving. We curve again and hit the bottom of the C. This is D3, the transverse duodenum.
D3. It goes sideways, crossing the spine, and it sits just below something called the uncinate process of the pancreas.
The uncinate process.
Think of it as a little hook on the bottom of the pancreas. D3 slides right under it. But this is where we see that structural detail that is just, it's mind-blowing.
I think I know where you're going. The bridge.
The vascular bridge. This is so critical. You have two massive blood vessels. The superior mesenteric vein, the SMV, and the superior mesenteric artery, the SMA.
And main pipelines for the gut.
The main pipelines, and they pass physically in front of the D3 section.
Hold on, let me get this straight. So D3 is crossing the spine.
Right, so the spine and the aorta are behind it.
And these huge blood vessels are draped right over the front of it.
Exactly. The D3 section is sandwiched. It's caught in a clamp, really, between the aorta in the back and these mesenteric vessels in the front. It's like a highway overpass.
Wow. That seems, I don't know, precarious. Couldn't it get pinched?
It actually can. There's a medical condition related to that, but normally it's just this incredible feat of anatomical packaging.
Okay, so we've crawled under the bridge of blood vessels. We hit the home stretch. D4.
D4, the ascending duodenum. Just a short trip upward.
And then comes the big turn.
The duodenal flexure. It's a sharp bend where the duodenum finally ends and the jejunum begins.
And that's the end of the short, complex 30-centimeter mixing bowl. Now we're on the open road.
The long road.
So the jejunum, what's the vibe here compared to the crowded duodenum?
The jejunum is about 2 meters long. So we've gone from 30 centimeters to 2 meters.
That's a huge jump in size.
A big jump. And its role is straightforward, but it's heavy duty. Digestion and absorption just continue at full speed. Think of the jejunum as the workhorse.
The workhorse.
It's doing the bulk of the heavy lifting for absorbing your carbs, your proteins, the basics.
It's just churning away. And then without any big landmark, it just sort of transitions into the final section, the ileum.
The ileum. And this is the longest section of them, all about 3 meters.
3 meters, so almost 10 feet of just ileum.
Yep. And the ileum is the finisher. The research notes make it clear that most absorption is totally completed before anything leaves the ileum.
But here's what I found so cool. It's not just doing more of the same, is it? It has specialties. It's a smart sponge.
It is highly specialized. The ileum is specifically responsible for absorbing 2 very important things: vitamin B12 and bile acids.
Okay, let's pause on that. B12, that's crucial, right? Nerve function,
Integrated.
energy.
Yeah.
And the body decides, I'm going to save that job for the very, very end of the line.
It is an interesting design choice, isn't it?
It seems risky.
The body is an amazing recycler. It sends bile out in the duodenum to digest fat, And then meters later, the ileum grabs those bile acids back to send them to the liver to be used again.
So it doesn't just waste them.
No, that would be incredibly inefficient. It's a closed-loop system.
So we've traveled 5 or 6 meters. We've absorbed iron, calcium, B12, recycled our bile. We are at the end of the line. What's next?
We hit border control. The ileocecal valve.
Ileocecal valve. So that's the connection point to the colon?
Correct. It connects the ileum to the cecum,
Yeah.
which is the very beginning of the right colon. And the anatomy describes it as a brake.
A brake, like it slows things down.
Yes, it regulates the flow so things don't just rush into the colon. But maybe more importantly, it prevents backflow.
Right, because the colon is where all the bacteria are. It's the waste processing area.
Exactly. The small intestine is relatively clean. The colon is teeming with bacteria. You do not want that coming back up into the kitchen.
It's a one-way street.
Strictly one way. And for a doctor doing a colonoscopy, this valve is a huge landmark. When they see it, they know they've reached the end of the colon. Mission accomplished.
So we've mapped the tube itself, but a machine like this needs a power supply. Let's talk about the supply lines. What's powering this 6-meter factory?
The main power source is that artery we mentioned, the superior mesenteric artery.
The SMA.
The SMA. Sounds like the CEO of the abdomen.
It basically is. This one artery supplies almost the entire small intestine. It sends off all these little jejunal branches and ileal branches.
Like the main trunk of a tree feeding all the leaves.
That's a perfect way to picture it. Now, there is a small nuance. The very first part of the duodenum gets a little help from another source, the celiac trunk. But for the vast majority of the small intestine, the SMA is king.
Okay, so fresh blood comes in through the SMA, drops off oxygen, picks up all those nutrients we just absorbed. Where does it go then? The return journey.
This is the drainage system. All that blood drains into the superior mesenteric vein, or SMV.
SMA in, SMV out. Easy enough. Right. But here's the critical part that explains so much about our metabolism. The SMV doesn't just go back to the heart. It has a mandatory pit stop.
It doesn't go to the heart. Where does it go?
Not right away. The SMV merges with the splenic vein, and when they join, they form the portal vein.
The portal vein. I feel like you hear that term a lot in medicine.
It is absolutely vital. The portal vein takes all of that nutrient-rich blood from your gut and delivers it directly to the liver.
So the liver gets first dibs on everything.
The liver gets the first pass. Think about it. You just ate something. It has nutrients, sure, but it might also have toxins or drugs. You don't want that going straight to your brain.
You want to filter, a checkpoint.
Exactly. The liver is the body's chemical processing plant. It detoxifies and metabolizes everything before that blood gets sent to the rest of the body.
The small intestine is the gathering pipeline, and the portal vein is the delivery truck to the factory.
That's a great way to put it.
You know, laying it all out like this, it's overwhelming how packed everything is. 6 meters of tubing, kidneys, major arteries, the liver, the pancreas, all fighting for the same tiny space.
It's incredibly tight. And that's why knowing these neighborhood relationships is so critical for doctors.
Right. Knowing the kidneys next to D2 isn't just trivia.
It's about safety. A surgeon working on the duodenum has to know exactly where that bile duct enters. They have to know the massive portal vein is hiding right behind the bulb. One wrong move isn't just a slip, it's a potential catastrophe.
It's all about situational awareness.
It is. The precision of the anatomy is just stunning. It's not random at all.
For me, the biggest takeaway is the specialization. I really did think of the small intestine as just an absorbent sponge, more tube.
A long, dumb tube.
Exactly. But the fact that the duodenum handles iron and calcium, and then the ileum, meters and meters away, is waiting specifically for B12, that's specialized labor.
It is. It's an assembly line where every station has a unique job.
Which brings me to a thought I want to leave everyone with today. We talked about how efficient this all is, but why? Why did the body decide to put B12 absorption at the very end of the line?
That is the question, isn't it?
Why make it wait through 6 meters of travel? Is it because B12 needs that much time to be processed before it can be absorbed? Or is it some kind of safety mechanism? It just makes you wonder about the why behind all this geography.
It does. It suggests the journey itself is part of the process. The distance matters.
Timing and location. The human body never stops being weird and wonderful. Thank you for joining us on this tour of the engine room.
My pleasure.
We're going to sign off the way we started. Dr. G.S. Raju's YouTube.